shall we? Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about House of the Dragon episode 4. Now, this was such a good fucking... I loved it. I don't know about you, Phil, but I actually really, really liked this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. Rhaenyra is... She got in some deep, deep shit. And she
got something deep, that's for sure.
Yes, very, very much so. Okay, so the episode starts out with Rhaenyra basically having like a dating show where she gets to pick the person she's gonna marry, and it's an absolute joke. You know, all these guys there. One guy is like twice her age. He's trying to coax her into marrying her, and she's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing this shit.
And then like a 10-year-old walks up and is just
a 10-year-old.
Like he's all like, like he's about ready to change pants, and it's
exactly. And then dude's like talking shit to him. They get into a fight, and the kid kills him, which I was like, holy fuck, he did. That was nuts, dude.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this. Actually, we talked a lot about this on World's Finest on Sunday night. Like, we kind of bounced around, but this is a fun episode, and I mean that in the loosest way possible, because there was there were some things that happened in this episode where, well, Anthony's got a really great word when some shit happens on Game of Thrones where, you know, from a modern day perspective, you look at that situation and be like, that's a little grimy. Well, the majority of the episode, I think, fits under the category of grimy.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, hold on, let me put this in the chat. Episode 4, yes or no. So the question's out there. Did you like House of the Dragon episode 4? So go ahead and leave your vote in there, and I'll share with you guys as we go on. So, look, in the last episode, we saw that Daemon Targaryen came through, and he fucking killed the crap eater. He fucking what do we call it? Like, he just cut him in half, and it wasn't a clean cut. Yeah, it was like at an angle, guts hanging out. It was bad. So he comes back to King's Landing, and he actually interacts with his brother, Viserys, in a very honorable way. And so you think to yourself again, you see him do these things, you see him show up like this, and you go, okay, I think that he's changed. Maybe he learned something when he was out there. But as this episode goes on, we learn that Daemon is going to be Daemon, and he's going to do some shit. And what does he do? But he takes out Rhaenyra out on the town. Okay? And this is just after she finally has a positive interaction with Lady Alicent, the queen.
Right.
She has a positive interaction with her where she actually even holds hands with her, because at the end of the day, she still misses her. And they miss each other. They miss what they had in terms of being, best friends. And Alicent actually is truthful with her and tells her, hey, I don't have very many friends these days. Pretty much like I miss just being your friend. And then she sort of felt like, yeah, you know what? Like, I honestly, she didn't say it, but in so many words, she was like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And so it was just really cool to see that. And they still had a little bit of a connection, but holy fuck. This episode.
What I found out yesterday?
What?
The actress who plays Alicent Hightower was 12-year-old Wonder Woman.
Yes, Wonder Woman. I saw that too.
Diana.
That's fucking crazy. So was she in Wonder Woman 84?
No, she was. No, because it was the younger actress who reprised the role for the tournament thing opening they did in 84.
Right. There was a mid, huh?
Because in the first one they show her at age like 7, and then they show her at age 12 being trained by Antiope, and the age 12 actress is Emily Casey, who's now Alicent Hightower.
I read that, I was like, holy shit! And I actually like her. The actress, I think she did. All of them are doing a very, very good job on the show. I mean, to me, there isn't any actor that is kind of like mailing it in. I think they're all just fucking on point. But so after that positive interaction, Damon decides to leave.
He cut his hair too.
He cut his hair, yeah. So he cut his hair short, which again gives you the impression that he's more refined. He's come around. You know what I mean?
Oh, he comes around.
He comes around because him and Damon and Rhaenyra have an interaction at the party, and again, I just like in the first episode, you're still getting those vibes, kind of like, are they flirting? Are they just really good friends? Like, I don't really get it, but Targaryens are known to fuck each other, so it wouldn't surprise me. So here we go. She goes into her room, and what does she find? She finds that there's a package waiting for her. And Phil, what's in the package? What's in the box?
Completely different set of clothes and a map showing where a hidden panel is in her room. And where does this panel take her? It takes her outside King's Landing. And who does she run into? Good old Uncle Damon.
And he's waiting for her.
Yeah, he's in like a Robin Hood kind of robe, and like they go out and they see what happens in the nightlife of King's Landing.
Yes.
And they see a mockery going on someone trying to mock who's on the throne, and they kind of mock the king a little bit, and she's kind of taken aback by it, but she has to wear a hat to hide her hair and hide the fact that, you know, the princess of King's Landing is running about, right?
Exactly. Doesn't bother me. Yes, that word fits well. The episode reminds me of the time I went hunting with Dick Cheney. Okay, there we go. So they go out, and he essentially takes her out to different areas, like you were saying, and then they end up at a brothel,
right?
Where he sort of teaches her, or he shows her that, you know, sex is not just about, you know, reproduction of, you know, based on your genes and your heritage or whatever. That it's also a form of pleasure,
right?
And it can be promiscuous, you know. And I think that her having learned that, I mean, I don't think she saw sex in that way before. But not only that,
he also kind of instills into her that, you know, you're royalty. You can do whatever the hell you want, regardless of whatever you're being told to do. You can do whatever the hell you want, regardless of any kind of consequence that may come with it. He's of this idea that just because he's of royal blood and he's a Targaryen, he can literally do whatever or whoever he wants. And well,
but we learn later on in the show that more or less applies to men than it does to women.
Yes.
And that's what she doesn't quite understand yet, because she's still kind of battling with that idea that, like, you know, she wants to be herself. She wants to have her own rights in a sense, right? So here they go. They're in the brothel. They're watching everyone get it on and fuck each other. And you're just like, what is about to happen now? And then all of a sudden, they start to kiss each other, and they start, I mean, his impotence played a part in this as well.
Oh, for sure.
But I really believe that, like, based on the fact that she actually, once he started to kind of move on her, she engaged, as opposed to being like, no, we can't do this, or get scared or apprehensive. She was like, yeah, let's go. And I think that kind of was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, again, you know, for him, he was supposed to be in charge. He was supposed to be like in a position of power while they were there. Instead, you know, she was like, she was basically saying, bring it on. And he just said, fuck it. And then he left her there.
Right. Pants down and everything.
Pants down and everything. Just, I'm out. Fuck. So he leaves, right? And then little do we know that she's got somebody following her around, which that little kid goes and tells the hand of the king, Otto Hightower, what's going on. Now, Otto Hightower takes it upon himself to tell the king that Rhaenyra was seen outside of the keep, and that she was at a brothel, and that she was getting it on with Damon. And he doesn't really believe her.
And then she went home because she couldn't get it on with Damon, and went and promptly got it on with Sir Cole.
Yes.
Which was like, yeah, I kind of anticipated that. But she was like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna go full skank tonight. I don't even care.
Well, because at that point she was looking at it like, yeah, you know what? Like, having sex can be kind of fun, you know what I mean? Like, I want to fuck this guy. Let's do it, you know? Someone's gonna clip that. Watch. I'm like, damn it. And so that's what she does. She lures him in, and they essentially get it on pretty quickly as she slowly takes his armor off,
which felt like an age-old type of deal. Like, it took forever to get his armor off. Which,
and he didn't stop her, but
yeah, no,
I felt like
he
he
did not.
knew, like, yeah. I'll teach you about the birds and the bees. So, guys, you know, make sure that you subscribe to the channel because here it comes. Sir Adam Cole, baby. But no, it's so. And so here we go. So she gets it on with him, right? And at this point, I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do because, like, you know, she might get pregnant. You know, I'm like, oh god. But then, okay, so Otto Hightower fucking rats her out. Okay, look at that. Somebody clip that. Fucking Venom.
Well, you know, we should also mention, like, all the while that Daemon is, you know, kind of instilling into Rhaenyra about all this. It's intercut with Alicent and King Viserys having some of the most awkward, boring sex imaginable.
Yeah. She's above him, just like, ugh.
And he's got rotting flesh all over him, and she's
like
just got
fucking
this,
dying above her. You know what I mean? Yeah.
She's just got this fucking bored look on her face, like, oh, please, can this just end?
But I don't know. It's like, it sucks because, like, I don't think, like, I rewatched the first episode with my wife the other day, and, like, I don't think she actually wanted to do what she's doing and be the queen. But her father wanted her to do that, and so she was just doing that. So it's very awkward. But yeah, so they're having some awkward sex in the king's chamber, and so when Otto Hightower does tell King Viserys that, you know, your daughter was seen outside doing this, doing that, you know, and fucking having fun with your brother, he doesn't really believe him.
Well, he couldn't even spit it out with, like, he couldn't even spit out the right words. He danced around it as best as he could until Viserys was just like, would you just fucking get on with it and accuse my daughter of whatever you're accusing her of? It's way too early for this shit.
It's like watching British porn. So he tells her, he tells the king, and in turn, this actually ends up backfiring on him because, you know, there's only one way that he could have known that was going to happen, and that was if he had somebody following her. And I think that, you know, having, you know, Rhaenyra tell the king, essentially kind of putting it in his face, like, hey, you got to think about this. Like, the only reason why he knows is because he's sending people to follow. He's had people following me around because he wants to fucking trash me because he wants his son or his godson or his grandson to be the king. And so that's when Viserys finally figures it out. Like, holy shit, this motherfucker was playing me the entire goddamn time. And so because of that, I mean, what's up, Nova Joe? And because of that, he basically dismisses Otto Hightower as the hand. He even takes off his fucking badge. I was like,
take that from you? Yeah, that ain't you anymore, Chief.
But he even said he served 2 other kings, I want to say, before him. So I was like, and he told him, he's like, you know, you taught me how to be a king. And, you know, the crown is forever in your debt. But I can't have you as my hand of the king anymore because your judgment is compromised. Which is true. He realized that. Like, look, the fact that you had somebody following around my daughter, I mean, it's like, you want to tell him, like, thank you for doing that because I wanted to know about this. But at the same time, it's like, why were you doing that? And more than likely, you were doing it because you were trying to find a reason to fuck her over and to, you know, disgrace her name so that I would name your grandson heir of the throne.
Right. He flat out told him, he's like, your interests no longer align with that of the kingdom. They align with your own deeds. And it's like, ooh.
And you know, like, you know, King Viserys, like, he does some stuff that I'm just like, oh, come on, bro. But, like, overall, I mean, I don't think he's that bad of a person. And so he tends to give certain people the benefit of the doubt, like his brother,
his daughter, and his daughter,
his brother, and even Otto. He kind of gives him the benefit of the doubt because he's like, look, I know you must have good intentions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But this time, he finally says, enough is enough, dude. You're out.
Yep.
But now the question is, who's going to replace him?
I was thinking about that. Like, who do you get to replace Otto Hightower as the hand, right? And wouldn't it be some shit? Because he just dismissed Daemon, so I don't see that happening.
I don't. I thought it would be, but I was like, no.
Because that's just too much of a turn for Viserys from a character perspective. And that would put Daemon even closer to the throne, which
Yes.
he does not want at all. But even when he's like, interrogating Daemon about that night in question, Daemon, he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. He's hungover. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, let me marry Rhaenyra. And it's like, you slimy SOB. Holy shnikes.
Exactly. But at the same time, though, he does say that's how we used to do things. That's how this family has done things throughout, throughout time.
Right.
And so it's telling of what's to come, I think, in the future for this family, because you already see Daemon trying to marry his niece.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all for that. And then King Viserys was like, no, get the fuck out of here, dude. Go back to your fucking wife and go be a man and get out of here.
Go back to your lawfully wedded wife. Not your common whore.
A common whore who he saw in the city.
Who was no longer a common whore.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But and that's pretty much where it ended. When the Queen Alicent confronted Rhaenyra, that was the first. You knew that she was so guilty because she's all of a sudden referring to Alicent as Your Grace. You know what I mean? Like, it's so telling of like, oh my god, dude, like you're so guilty right now, because now all of a sudden you're trying to respect her and show her, like, oh, I respect you. You have, my attention, my authority. I was just like, oh man, come on.
But then she kind of flipped the script on her. She was like, "You dare accuse me? That's treason." Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing.
She brought that up, and because at the same time she's trying to protect herself. And she's saying who's ever accusing me of this, like you were saying, that's treason. And so she's kind of trying to put whoever is doing this kind of like, hey, whoever's doing this, they can get in trouble too, But at the end of the day, she still backed her up. She was like, I spoke to her, and she didn't call it virginity. She called it her.
Oh, damn it. The word just escaped me. It was,
not virginity. It was like her.
It was like, not sanctity. It was like,
oh, what was it? Let's see. Do we know how many seasons the show is planned? I don't know how many seasons it's planned.
4 or 5, I think, is what I've been hearing. Like 4 or 5, maybe 6 seasons. I don't know.
Based on the way they're jumping, it's definitely going to end at a certain point.
Yeah.
Sort of like Rings of Power. Like they're jumping around a lot, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to jump around this much, then you're going to essentially, you have an end point. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get to this season. That's what's going to end.
The theory is that it's going to end with the fabled Dance of Dragons. And, based on the story that Stannis Baratheon's daughter was reading about the great, Rhaenyra going to war with her brother Aegon, it's like, well, 2 and 2, they're right there.
Yes.
So.
What was it called? Her sanctity or her maidenness? No, her. Fuck, what was the word, man?
I don't remember.
It was like, basically, it's another word for virginity. And she defended her, and she told King Viserys, hey, I believe her. I don't think she did that. And little did they know, she fucking did it. She did it with 2 different guys. I was like,
you gotta figure, like, this isn't just gonna be the end all be all of it. This is gonna come back and bite Rhaenyra in the ass at some point down the line. And I'd imagine it might come back and bite her in the ass when she's an adult.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's my guess, is like it's a planted seed for something down the line.
I think so. And I think for Alicent, she kind of put herself, out there to defend her, and I think that's going to be something that's going to come up later on down the line, that like, hey, you know what, I defended you and I stood up for you, and now you're trying to fuck me over somehow, some way. So, did the word start with P? No, I don't think it did.
It started with like an S or something like that. I don't know.
I can list everywhere in the dictionary. Good to see Will Poulter in House of the Dragon. Who was Will Poulter?
Will Poulter's the guy playing Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He was in We're the Millers with Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston and Emma Roberts. He was the adopted brother, the son or whatever. Yeah. Kid grew up. Like, he's got guns now. He jacked
He
up
wasn't in the show, but there's been.
Yeah,
I saw the joke earlier, and it really ruined it. I was like, God damn it! Did you know that Will Poulter was actually he was originally being considered for the role of Finn in The Force Awakens?
He was also, I want to say, under consideration for the role of Pennywise the Clown, but had to back out for scheduling conflicts, and then they wound up with Bill Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm. We did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's kind of weird to think like if Finn was played by Will Poulter. I mean, that's an entirely different character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that's pretty much how House of the Dragons episode 4 ended. We know there's going to be a time jump coming up pretty soon. I think it's going to be after the next episode, I want to say.
That's the idea, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because like I've gotten so used to these actors, and now the girls are going to be replaced by new actresses, and it's going to be a little different, you know. But I still think it's going to be fire though, because the whole show itself is fire.
I mean, so far it's excellently executed, great writing, great character development.
The special effects are amazing,
top notch. Like you see the budget in the same way you see the budget in Rings of Power.
Exactly. And what Rings of Power, I mean, goddamn, like that's another one too. So let's go ahead and end this segment here. Tune in. So guys, we'll be back next week for another breakdown of episode 5 of House of the Dragon. This episode 4, I fucking loved it. I was like on the edge of my seat, like holy shit. And at the end, the Grand Maester gives her that tea.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, you better fucking drink it just to be safe, you know. And I'm looking at her like, better fucking drink that tea, bitch. And she does. She's like, oh, I'll just drink this. Fuck it. I mean, you have to at that point. You know what I mean? Like, I was with 2 other guys, so I guess I probably should do this. So, but we'll see how it plays out. So, guys, tune in next week for an episode of House of the Dragon for episode breakdown for episode 5. But episode 4, check it out. House of the Dragon on HBO Max. And that concludes that roundup for that episode.